So yeah, if I pissed some people off with this video, believe me, that was not my intent. Hello guys, welcome, or if you've already seen my channel before, welcome back. I am the Philadelphia Whovian, and once again, I'm stepping away. Yes, so I should have enunciated that better. I'm stepping away from my normal subject matter to talk about something I don't usually talk about, and it's about, as you saw in my title sequence, the vicious cycle of Star Wars fandom. Okay, if anybody who's listened to that title is thinking, oh my god, she's going to attack us Star Wars fans and say we're vicious, oh my god, how dare she? No, I'm not. The only reason I put the term vicious in the title was because the vicious cycle is simply a term you use when you're mentioning how the vicious cycle means it's a situation that keeps on repeating itself, and the word vicious cycle is just a term. It's a phrase that is used to attribute to when a group of people keep on being, cyclical in their behavior. That's it. So anyone who's like, oh my gosh, she's about to talk about how we absolutely hate the new Star Wars movies, whether you love them or hate them, it's fine. I am not attacking you for your feelings on it. If you guys hated The Last Jedi, more power to you. Did you like The Last Jedi? More power to you. Are you both vocal about your hatred for The Last Jedi or for The Force Awakens? No problem. You're a fan. You have the right to speak as you wish. I'm simply just doing this video to make you aware of a pattern that I noticed to help you guys feel better, if that can help you at all. So, let me begin. So, what am I talking about? Okay, first of all, now, when it comes to the new Star Wars movies, okay, then we have got the Force Awakens, we've got Rogue One, we've got, The Last Jedi, we have also Han, that's the new Solo, the new Solo movie, and now The Mandalorian's coming out, and we got the rise of, Skywalker and all that jazz is happening. So we got these, now more rush of Star Wars films coming out, and long story short, here's what happened. The Force Awakens happened, this new episode of Star Wars, The Force Awakens, and where we are following Rey, and here's what happened with the Star Wars fandom. Okay, when it first came out, it was a big hit. People loved it. But slowly and surely, fans began to slowly eat away and chip away at it, and then over time, the hatred began to really kick in. I mean, there are people out there who just hate this movie. Rogue One, I don't know what some people think or feel about it. I've seen people say that Rogue One is better than The Force Awakens. Some who think The Force Awakens is better than Rogue One. There's nothing I can do about that. It's whatever. But then The Last Jedi came out, and whoa, did the hate really start flying. First, you had the concept of a different creator from The Force Awakens, because J.J. Abrams did The Force Awakens. Now we have a new person coming in, and it's about continuing a narrative that you did not want to continue. So what does he do? The new person coming in just completely throws away a lot of what was happening before to do something new. So you have these two stories that don't feel that similar, and there's also agendas in there. There are agendas, and there are characters that just you're not going to side with. That's just life. What can you do? Okay, and with this, so that when The Last Jedi came out, oh god, that's when the hate began to fly even more than before, and that was when people began to look back on The Force Awakens again and really get mad and say how it was all terrible and how the problem was from The Force Awakens to begin with, especially since it was similar to A New Hope. There's that. And also between the fact that when it comes to the prequels, people are now saying, okay, how the prequels, therefore, are so good now. The prequels, episode 1, 2, and 3. For those of you guys who don't know what I'm talking about The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith. Boom. Okay, because at least people say that those are much better, and they miss them, because at least with those three, you see a cohesive narrative between all three. There is a cohesive story being told. Whereas with The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, you clearly see a breakdown of narrative where you don't know where the story is really going to be headed, because two creators went in two different directions and did not respect the original material. Okay. These are some of the criticisms that I have seen. There are probably more, There are probably more, but these are the main ones I have seen. So, what is my reaction to this? Guys, again, that's fine how you feel. You love the new ones or hate them. It's all good. You are vocal in your hatred for the new films. Perfectly fine. You are a fan. You are not toxic for how you feel. Boom. Putting it right out there. What I'm simply saying is, actually, guys, you've been here before. I'll repeat that if I was not clear. You've been here before. This whole situation you're in actually was the exact same situation you were in with The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and then Revenge of the Sith. People now are acting like, oh yeah, see how much better, the prequels were now compared to this crap? Guys, that's exactly what you were saying about the prequels in comparison to the original trilogy. You were saying the exact same thing. Oh god, these prequels are so freaking terrible compared to the original trilogy. Dear God, George Lucas is ruining his history, or ruining his, everything that made him great. He's literally ruining this. He's also ruining Indiana Jones. This is the many things that were rolling around when it came to the prequels. I was there to see it happen. I remember. And also, remember how I told about The Force Awakens? When people first saw it, they were excited. They loved it. They were happy. But slowly and surely, they began to hate it. Hate it. Hate it. And now they hate it even more. Yes. That's what happened with The Phantom Menace. I know people forget, but here's what happened with The Phantom Menace. This was one of the most anticipated movies for God knows how long. The Phantom Menace was. The way The Force Awakens was. Then The Phantom Menace comes out. And people secretly probably hated it, but initially people acted like they loved it. This was like they praised it, they worshipped it, they thought it was awesome, but then slowly and surely they began to let their truth come out. And they began to not lie to themselves anymore and said, overall, this was a really terrible movie. Which, overall, it kind of was. I know some people in the audience are about to say, oh, but Darth Maul. Darth Maul was, one, underutilized, and two, okay, that fight sequence, okay, I give credit. Darth Maul looked cool. He looked incredibly cool. But here's the problem. That fight sequence had a lot of empty moments. What I mean by that is a lot of spaces in between the actual fight sequences, so there was no feeling of immediacy to it, actually. Again, Darth Maul, the stuntman who played Darth Maul, very good, very incredible. You were really good. But the fact is, there were a lot of just blank moments. It was like, okay, how about some actual, fighting, some immediacy? The way we felt when Luke Skywalker was fighting Darth Vader in The Empire Strikes Back. That fight, yeah, awesome. That feeling of passion, or just that feeling, something. This felt blank to me. I know you guys say, oh, it's awesome. Guys, it's not that awesome of a fight scene. It's a great fight choreographer and a great stuntman. The great Darth Maul was great, but overall, it was a fight sequence where the energy kept on falling out of it because there were too many spaces in between fight moves, and also the directing wasn't very good. The directing was very flat. It did not understand, okay, changing your angles of your camera and giving more immediacy to really help you feel connections. Things just felt flat a bit. And also made even more pointless because we find out in episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, oh man, I'm getting really technical here. In Revenge of the Sith, that when Obi-Wan says to Anakin, you have lost, I have the higher ground, because Anakin was fighting Obi-Wan, but Obi-Wan had the higher ground, which means that now there's no way that Anakin can win because Obi-Wan has the higher ground, Obi-Wan can kill him. But now, when that happened, that completely shattered even more of the Phantom Menace fight sequence because Darth Maul had the higher ground than Obi-Wan Kenobi. So how did Obi-Wan Kenobi defeat Darth Maul when we find out in episode 3 that there is no way that Obi-Wan Kenobi could have won because he did not have the higher ground? Sorry. Oh, I got technical there. Shit. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, either way, so the Phantom Menace is, and also, what people forget about the Phantom Menace audience reaction is, when it got vicious, finally, it got so vicious that it destroyed the life of the child actor who played Anakin. Okay, good performance, bad performance, whatever, a kid is a kid. You don't ruin childhoods. That's where I draw the freaking line. You don't ruin childhoods. You don't do it. But this kid now, okay, it led to him being bullied, picked on, but also led to him now having a phobia of cameras. His whole life was shattered because of the first movie and the audience reaction to the first movie and the vicious, horrible behavior where some of them literally attacked this kid and the kid had to hear about people not liking him. This is a freaking child. This child's life was ruined. Both George Lucas, Spielberg, did not protect this kid, did not defend this kid very well, and then the audience was hostile to him. Again, nothing is worse than ruining a child's life in this manner. I mean, nothing's worse than ruining a child in general, but still, in this behavior, and then we as a fandom, well, actually, I'm not really a Star Wars fangirl. I admit I'm a Trekkie. Oh crap. Okay, I know I probably just completely got thumbs down on my video from people watching this saying, how dare you, a Trekkie, talk about Star Wars. Guys, I was raised on Star Trek. It's my childhood. It's my teens. I love Star Trek. Yes, I'm a Trekkie, okay? I'm a Trekkie! But I can talk about Star Wars too. But for the fandom to hurt this child so severely the way it did, guys, the way that we are reacting, or the way that the Star Wars fandom is reacting, why do I keep saying we? I'm not really part of the Star Wars fandom. I watch the movies casually. Okay, but the way that the Star Wars fandom is now is just the way it was back then to its reactions to when it does not like something. And also, then we have another person whose life it almost destroyed, and that was the actor who played Jar Binks. When he was doing it, he was doing the movie, people in the studio were like, yay, very good job, man. And he felt really elated. The movie came out. All this hatred came his way and ruined his life so much he almost committed suicide. And now his story is coming forward, that he literally was this close to jumping off a bridge. And only thing that stopped him was, I think, maybe fear, or it just was realizing a family, or he just used his self-control. He used his self-control to not jump over the edge, but he was this close to jumping over the edge with all of the reaction he got, the waves of hate he got for playing Jar Binks. Yeah. That's how passionate Star Wars fandom was when it came to the first movie. Initially, like The Force Awakens, they liked the movie initially, but over time, they began to stop living in a cloud and began to realize, oh, there are many problems to this movie, and the more they thought about it, the more betrayed they felt. And it led to some very vicious reactions on their part. I'm not calling the Star Wars fans toxic. No, you're not. I'm just saying this is a fact that has happened when the prequels happened. I'm just giving you factual evidence. Yes, the reaction to the movie, The Phantom Menace, got so bad eventually that it led to a child being destroyed, and one of the actors went to contemplate suicide. Then we get Attack of the freaking Clones. Guys, okay. I know you guys hate The Last Jedi. But honest to God, Attack of the Clones, if you love it, cool. I have never... That is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I mean, everything does not work. I mean, Obi-Wan Kenobi, he's good. I give him credit for that. He is good. Ewan McGregor did a good job playing him. But this is a story where I'm like, first of all, it's called Attack of the Clones. Where's this attack you're talking about? But then, guys, remember the really awkward and horrible love scenes between Anakin and Padme? I hate sand. It gets everywhere. And them rolling around in the grass, and it's just so awkward. They're so obviously not in love. And they have no chemistry whatsoever. And Anakin always looks like a stalker just staring at her. And the plot line is absolutely horrible, where where the assassins are trying to kill Padme. And as this is occurring, they have these stupid ways of trying to kill her. Like, first, they hired this one assassin who puts slugs into her bedroom, and these like slug creatures are going to go to kill her. But the Jedi of Obi-Wan and Anakin arrive and save her at the last moment. It's like, why didn't you just shoot her through the window? And then you got the Mandalorian. Sorry, you have Jango Fett's father, I believe. Yes, he hired the assassin and then kills the assassin once the Jedi find her, but it's like, why didn't you just kill the Jedi who were right there at the same time? None of this is really working. It is a story of all exposition with not enough good payoff. And it's just so painful to watch. Again, not very good direction at all. I can't even blame the actors. To me, it's obviously the director it was just uncomfortable situations after uncomfortable situations where the actors were never allowed to find their footing. Yeesh. Oh God, Attack of the Clones. So, guys, I know you hate Last Jedi, but nothing will ever reconcile the Attack of the Clones to me. Again, the Anakin and Padme scenes? So awkward. Then you've got Revenge of the Sith, which I think overall was a very good movie. But by the time that Phantom Menace had come out and Attack of the Clones, there was so much of a hate train for the trilogy that some people, it took them a while to realize Revenge of the Sith was actually any good. It took a while for people to realize Revenge is actually pretty darn good. And at least all that build-up was building up to something. I will give it that about the trilogy. It was building up to something, and it was doing it with a cohesive narrative, but it doesn't stop the fact that the narrative was overall very, very badly executed until we get to Revenge of the Sith, where things did get better. Yes, but just letting you know, this was the state of fandom during the time of the prequels. So what you guys are going through now, that, guys, you've been here before. There's nothing wrong with you repeating yourselves. There's nothing wrong with you not liking the new films. There's nothing wrong with you being vocal about it. I just want to make it very clear that I think my advice with this, or my overall point about this is, guys, don't worry. Time helps heal all wounds. And it will get better for you guys. Because it did get better. Now people are looking at the prequels with a much fonder eye, because now they have had time to accept the prequels. I think some elements of the prequels are still terrible, but now people are looking with a fonder memory of the prequels because time has helped heal them from the disappointment they once felt, and now they're seeing something completely new, or they're seeing things completely different because time has taught them to appreciate it. So what I'm saying is, time shows that whatever you're going through now as a Star Wars fandom, it's going to get better. Because you guys have been here before, you've been through this entire journey before, you're now back on that cycle, that vicious cycle that is fandom. Fandom is a cycle, it's a vicious one. Fandom will always be a vicious cycle. That's just how fandom is. It's okay. I'm just doing this video to tell you guys, don't worry, it's going to get better. It will. Time will help heal any wounds you're feeling. So this is my video on the vicious cycle of Star Wars fandom. No one is toxic for not liking the new films. No one is stupid for liking the new films. You're all right to feel what you feel. I'm just letting you know now the pattern I began to notice between the prequels and now. And just letting you guys know, don't worry. It gets better. It always does. Time helps heal things. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Are you Star Wars fans or you're not? Either way, let me know in the comment section. Bye, guys.